Good morning, folks. Today is July the 20th, and I'm out here in my tomato shed. I want to welcome you back to my channel, Hightunnel and Field Tomato Production. And if you're watching this, I don't take it lightly. Appreciate you watching it. These are informational videos and not meant to try to make me any money or be popular or anything. Today I want to take just a minute and tell you kind of what's going on in my Hightunnels, give you an update. I'm having a little trouble with what's known as yellow shoulder disorder. And it's not a disease, it's just what it says, it's a disorder. Now you can see here maybe, a little glare for me so I cannot tell. Here's another one, you'll see some of the yellow shouldering right there. And what this is not fully understood. I've talked to universities at Cornell, Arkansas State, and some other areas, and I do know that it possibly is related to not enough potassium. I do not believe that's my problem. I believe there's enough potassium in my soil, but what I believe is going on is I may have an imbalance in the soil that is causing the uptake of the potassium not to be there when the plant needs it. And if you've ever grown tomatoes, you know they can be awfully finicky sometimes, and you can try to do everything you think is right and still have a lot of problems. And I believe that I'm high in phosphorus. My soil test said I was. Whether that is the problem, I do not know. Now, yesterday I just took some soil samples, and I'm sending some off to Arkansas State University. And we're going to look and see what's in the soil, what are the nutrients level. I'm also sending some to a lab in Memphis, which is where the growers down in South Arkansas, now they've got so many acres, they send a leaf sample and soil sample in every week because they need time to adjust very quickly if something is going on. Now I do know in the field if you get excessive rain, that can sometimes cause some waterlogging, which keeps the plant from uptaking the nutrients. For me, a couple of weeks ago, I had 2 days of 102 degree temperatures. And when a plant reaches about 100 degrees, give or take one, it actually goes dormant. I think that is what caused some of my problems, that at a crucial time, at a certain developmental stage of the green tomato, that it didn't get what it needed. And then later on, when temperatures got down to more normal, that they began their process again, but it was already some damaging occurring. And I also know that too cold of night temperature, 60 degrees and below. Well, yeah, here in the Ozarks, I had some of that at a certain stage of my tomatoes. So there's a lot of factors here, and even though we're still having a decent harvest, I think I will still reach last year's production level. I'm going to have some wastage from tomatoes, and at least 10%, maybe even 15%. I'm not exactly sure. I don't sit there and count percentages, but when I grade out 10 boxes, I may wind up with 1 or 2 boxes of tomatoes that I don't want to sell, either due to the disorder or some other factors. Now, most of my tomatoes where I live here, I'm selling for canning tomatoes. I do sell some for slicers. I do sell a few to a local vendor who will sell them at his store. But right now I'm getting such a high demand for canning tomatoes because I'm raising one of the most flavorful canning tomatoes there is, and that's Florida 7514. I am having some problems with the size this year. They're running a little undersized. But I have also raising 2 new tomatoes, Red Deuce and Grand Marshal. Now both of these are good sized tomatoes. I just started harvesting some of the Red Deuce, and I'll have to say I'm pretty impressed. While the flavor's not quite as good as the Florida 7514, the size is big, the flesh is firm, they are good tasting. I don't have any trouble with the taste, and I think a lot of folks that would be buying tomatoes for slicing and table eating and sandwiches would like these. They're a little big for processing, but I am going to raise quite a few of them next year. I'm just impressed. I'll know more how they handled the heat, because We're running 95 every day right now. I've got some cloud cover today, which is probably why this film may be a little dark. And boy, I'm thankful for that. But there's no breeze. It's close to 11 o'clock, actually a little past 11, and there's still dew on the ground. So we're saturated, 100% humidity. And that's the reason you've got to keep your fungicides on your field tomatoes. This is the perfect weather for bacterial infections, anthracnose, bacterial speck, bacterial spot. Perfect conditions for it. You're going to have to keep your fungicides on them. And I've also noticed because it's been a few years since I raised some field tomatoes, my Hightunnel tomatoes are so much superior in looks. And I'm having a little bit more on my field tomatoes, having a little bit of insect problems, nothing major, but a little bit more. The weather just causes the skin not to be quite as pretty sometimes. And in the tunnel, those of you that grow them in the tunnel know that they wind up just being far superior looking tomatoes. So I hope what I've done this year on my field tomatoes, I'm hoping to get a decent crop. I will be working really soon here. As soon as I can get harvested, I'm going to be working that soil up. I didn't do a lot of soil prep this year, but I'm going to really be adding some organic matter, doing a lot of soil prep, because next year I plan on raising quite a few field tomatoes. I may even lay out one, and I may lay out two of my tunnels and let them rest. I'm not doing what is recommended, which is every 7 years you lay your field out and you work your soil, put cover crops on. I haven't done that in quite a few years, so I may do that this year. I'll get my game plan together this winter. So anyway, thanks again. God bless. See you next time.